Hey, welcome to the Murray City Council meetings. We're glad to have you viewing the proceedings. Tonight we have scheduled Committee of the Whole, a short break, and at 6:30 council meeting. Because of the current health pandemic and in order to comply with the governor's directive to stay safe and stay home, and the public health order issued by the county health department and county mayor, we have determined that an in-person meeting, including attendance by the public and the council, is not practical or prudent. Therefore, this meeting will be held remotely through electronic means. Each person is participating from a separate location. We are totally dependent upon the internet and technology to broadcast this meeting and to ensure that the public has the opportunity to view the proceedings. However, there could be malfunctions that are totally beyond our control. We do not expect any issues, but want to make you aware of that possibility. If you would like to submit citizen comments or public hearing comments, please email to city.council@murray.utah.gov. They should be less than 3 minutes, including your name and contact information, and they will be read into the record. All council members are present. Okay, first order of business on the Committee of the Whole is approving the minutes of March 3rd, March 17th, and April 7th, 2020. Do I have any additions or deletions? Any corrections?
I'll move approval of our Committee of the Whole minutes for March 3rd, 2020, committee, or all of them, March 17th, 2020, and April 7th, 2020.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
Okay.
Okay, Jennifer?
Ms. Dominguez,
Aye.
Ms. Turner,
Aye.
Mr. Hells,
Aye.
Ms. Martinez,
Aye.
Mr. Cox.
Aye. Next, discussion items. Animal service contract, Chief Burnett.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks for letting me come and talk for a couple of minutes about our animal services contract. It's time for to renew a contract or go to a new contract. So just kind of give you a little bit of background as to where we are and how we got here with our animal services. Back in 2009, the city decided to explore outsourcing animal control services. So an RFP was done back then. We had responses from West Jordan and Salt Lake County, and West Jordan came in with a bid that was favorable for the city, and so we disbanded our animal control services and started working with West Jordan on a 5-year agreement. That agreement ended in 2010, and we signed another agreement with West Jordan then for another 5 years. West Jordan's done an admirable job and helped us out in a hard place at the time. But as this agreement was coming due, we started getting responses from or requests from Salt Lake County about a year ago, wanting to have a shot at this agreement as well. So when this agreement was coming up, it expires in the end of June of this year. We put out an RFP, and we got responses back from West Jordan and from Salt Lake County. And after looking at what services they had and the costs and everything else, we had made the decision to go with Salt Lake County. And I've just got a couple slides I'm going to put up. Hopefully this works. Salt Lake County brings with them a lot of a lot more resources in West Jordan. West Jordan's done us a good job. We've never looked at this as we were looking to get rid of West Jordan. It was more of what can we get for the money we're paying for the services, and Salt Lake County brought in just a lot of things that we weren't getting from West Jordan because they're not able to provide them due to the size and the scope of their abilities. Salt Lake County, just kind of a little bit of an idea. They provide currently animal services to Midvale, Holiday, and Mill Creek, which are all bordering cities of ours, which gives us a little more response from them besides what we would have in Murray. Their times, they would have somebody in our area from 7 in the morning till 10 at night. They're on call 24 hours a day. They have, I think they said 20 officers that take care of the valley. That includes Salt Lake City, who they also provide services for. One of the things we were looking at when we put out this RFP was we've been carrying kind of two budgets. We would pay West Jordan for animal services, and then we had a budget in the police department that we were maintaining the shelter that we have here in Murray. So we were kind of doing both, and we put out in the RFP that we would like to see somebody come in and take over that facility and be part of the bid, as opposed to us having to take care of it ourselves. West Jordan chose not to go that route. They wanted to remain as the way that we've been doing it for the last 10 years. But Salt Lake County came in and said that they were more than anxious to utilize our facility. In fact, as part of the agreement, we'll show here in the next slide, they're willing to pay us for and lease that facility, take over all the responsibilities, and we were still paying for a lot of the vet bills and the food and everything that happened at the shelter. Whereas with this agreement with Salt Lake County, they're going to take care of all of that. Some of the positives that they bring to the table is that they do have a veterinarians on staff that are there for emergency calls and to deal with animals that come into their shelter, as opposed to trying to find somewhere that we would have to take animals that have been injured. They have programs for immunizations, vaccinations. That's a better word. It's easier for me to say. For our citizens, they'll have clinics where that reduce prices for rabies and the other vaccinations that animals require. But they also have voucher programs for citizens that maybe can't afford to take care of their animals. So they have some programs that all come as part of this agreement. They would take over the licensing. We wouldn't issue Murray City licenses with that anymore. They would all be licensed through the county. I think that's very nominal as far as the amount of money that we've been taking in for licensing. They do a lot of community outreach and education. We've been putting money aside for the TNR, the trap, neuter, and release of cats. That'll all be part of this program. In fact, the only thing on here that we haven't quite decided how to address yet is the optional wildlife assistance program. I'm not really sure that that's something that we're needing as much as some of the other things. So this is kind of, if I didn't just, did that go away or is it still there?
It's gone.
There it is. I touched the wrong button. So this kind of shows a little bit of, or shows what the fees, this agreement will entail. It's $419,118. Now they charge all cities and townships the same. It's $8.50 a citizen, and they're going off of our 2018 estimate of roughly 49,000, I think 308 people is what they were using. So that's where that cost comes from. Part of this is the lease of our existing shelter, which would put them right down to what we've been paying for animal control services, and that's the $354,000. So with the lease of that shelter, it's really makes it a little easier for us to enter into agreement with them. Currently, we just have the agreement that we have and that we'll bring forward next meeting is for the animal services. There will be a separate agreement. I'm not sure whether that'll be available for the next meeting or shortly after that to deal with the lease of the animal shelter. So in looking at the RFPs and looking what the services they were able to provide, it was just really, West Jordan stepped in a bad time for us, helped us out. They've done a good job for 10 years. So this is nothing against West Jordan. It's just for the amount of money we're paying, we're getting considerably more that the county's able to give us than what we were getting from West Jordan. So that's kind of where we're at and our thoughts on this interlocal agreement. Any questions?
Any questions for the chief?
I have a question. How does pest control interact with animal control? Is it the same or is that different as far as how we contract that?
Pest control, as in rats and raccoons and things like that.
Yeah.
That animal control does not do. They don't do that. That's usually left up to property owners to get pest control if you have a rat problem. Raccoons, skunks.
That's all resident.
That's all resident. With this additional 11,000 that was on there for urban wildlife assistance, if we were to go that direction, they would help with raccoons and skunks, but none of the other things that we tend to deal with on a regular basis, and especially if you live like in your neighborhood and certain places where we have a lot of kind of wildlife that'll come up from our the rivers and things like that. Yeah, they will help to a degree, but that's not part of the contract.
Okay, that's good to know. My one other question is, sorry, I can't read my own handwriting as I was scribbling over here. I'm going to get the name of it wrong. The pickup spay neuter release program. Is there citizen interaction with that? Do people call and let animal control know where they're seeing them, or is that kind of run independently? Sort of what's that relationship with reports?
No, that is driven by citizens. So, if you have a cat colony, that's usually how we know about it and how they know where to go. And then they will put out the traps and help you or help the citizens trap the cats, bring them back, neuter them, and then they go put them back. And, with the idea that they can still live wild as long as they're not bothering folks, and then they don't continue to grow. So, but yeah, that's driven by the citizens.
And where would citizens find that number, email, or how would they report that? How would they know?
We would be able to, once we get settled down, just getting a hold of the animal control by phone or email.
Just directly.
They would be able. They have a team that works on that, and they would have somebody they could talk to, and they'd make the arrangements with them.
Okay, thank you. You'd think if we had a celebrated, stray cat situation, we would also not have a celebrated rat population, but I feel like we have both in close proximity. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Chief.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, next, Water Conservation and Landscape Ordinance. Corey Wells, Danny Steele, Melinda Greenwood, and Jared Hall.
So good evening, everyone. I'm going to introduce Corey to you here in just a second, and we've tried to work out our video over here, so we're sharing tonight. So, but anyway, we appreciate the opportunity to take some time with you tonight and talk about one of the goals that we had in our conservation plan. Corey's going to explain that, and he's gone through. He's actually worked on this quite heavily. Trying to figure out what a park strip conservation effort would look like. And so that's what he's going to share with you tonight. And Melinda and Jared have both spent some time with us meeting and talking about our ordinance and things that if we need to change something, they were willing to make those changes or work toward those changes for us. But I think they'll talk to that as we go into this as well. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to Corey after I hopefully share the screen with you. So get my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing. So here's Corey.
Okay, all right. Well, thanks for the time tonight to kind of go over our water conservation plan. So as Danny had mentioned, last year we completed our water conservation plan, and we was looking at our current water conservation efforts and things that we were doing, and then also looking at some future conservation goals. And one of those was a park strip water conservation, which we kind of refer to as like a flip your strip program. And so it's just kind of an incentive to hopefully get residents to maybe want to convert their park strips to xeriscaping. So we've just kind of got some slides to go through and kind of point out some kind of how it would look and some options that we have here. Just push the space bar. So current and future water conservation programs and rebate options. So we're just going to look at the water current conservation programs, what a flip your strip program would look like, conservation rebates, estimated annual cost to the city, and then how a flip your strip program would look like. My slides are covered up there.
We're having some technical difficulties here with him seeing the slides. So let's jump. Let's spread that out. Can you guys see our screen okay?
Yes.
Where it says current and future water.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, we'll look at how a park strip conversion program could help, and then also go over the city ordinance. So what is Murray City Water currently doing to promote water conservation? We have our water conservation plan. We have our tiered water rate schedule that we implemented in 2018, our water sense rebate programs, and our Fix a Leak Week, Earth Day. We do an AWWA water audit program. We do our consumer confidence report yearly. And we partner up with the Utah Rivers Council for the rain harvest program. And then also with the National Energy Foundation WaterWise for Kids program. And then our water ordinance for no watering between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. And then we also participate in the Murray Fun Days booth. So this is just the cover sheet of our 2019 water conservation plan. And this is just our water rate changes that we implemented in 2018. We're in the third year of that right now. And we have 2 more years of moderate increases before this is done.
Corey, can you take that a little bigger on that? Just the tiers. I just kind of want to see that a little better. If you can. If you can't, no biggie.
Oop.
Sorry, I shouldn't have asked.
That's all right. If you're patient, we'll be all right.
Brett, you can pinch it and make it bigger on your screen.
Okay, thank you, Diane.
Sorry, we can't figure out how to do it on this surface.
Yeah. This
I
is
got it.
on the Murray City website that residents can see this, and there's actually two sides to this. It shows the rate structure as well. This kind of just gives the background is kind of why we're doing it, and so it's just some useful information for residents if they wanted to get some information on this. But and so this is just one of the opening slide in the National Energy Foundation partners that we partner with. So they go around to the 4th grade elementary classes along with some water personnel, and they help us promote water conservation and just kind of get the kids involved in trying to be active in conserving water and realizing how important it is. And we just kind of feel it all starts, at these younger ages, and it's worked out pretty good for us. We've done it for quite a few years, and it's along with some drawing contests, and we do some prizes, and the kids seem to enjoy it. So this is our consumer confidence report, and this goes out yearly to all the Murray residents. And it's just got a lot of basic information in it about the Murray water systems, fluoride, backflow, and just some of the things that we're doing within the city to just kind of convey it to the Murray residents to let them know what we're up to. And this is required by the state every year to have this report out. But we also put in some of these drawings from these kids, and it's kind of nice that we've got feedback that the kids have seen their pictures meld to them and different things. So it's kind of a nice thing as well. So current rebate options for Murray water customers. Currently, Murray City does the toilet and the shower head rebate. So if a resident wanted to change out their toilet that was the high volume to a 1.6 gallon water sense approved toilet, they have the option of doing this and getting up to a $75 rebate per toilet or $25 for a shower head. And they can do up to 3 fixtures. And one thing with this toilet rebate, I'll get to it in a couple slides, but we're looking at kind of modifying this rebate program, and I'll kind of explain that in a minute. So some other available rebate options to Murray water customers. So this right here is a Utah Water Savers website. It's run by Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. And so they offer some rebate programs. It depends a little bit on if you're a member agency or if you're not. So if you look at the ones that are highlighted in kind of the orange, as opposed to the ones that are, say, blue, where it's all of Utah, the ones that are in all of Utah, that would be that Murray City residents would be eligible for those rebates, but the ones in the orange, the Murray City residents are not, and that's because we're not a member agency buying the water from Jordan Valley. So if you see that the toilet replacement where it's highlighted in the blue there, it's kind of a better option for Murray residents to go through their toilet replacement through this rebate program here. They actually offer $100 per toilet as opposed to the $75 that we're doing now. And then with that, they can also do those smart controllers for their sprinkler systems. And that was another goal of ours, is to implement a smart controller rebate program. But fortunately, these guys are already offering this, so that kind of works well for Murray City. And kind of the reason why that these are available to all of Utah is they are state funded. So the state's providing this money, and everybody can benefit off of it. But we will still continue to do the shower head rebate programs, and this will be implemented sometime in the summer once we get everything figured out with paperwork and applications and stuff. So how a park strip conversion program can help. So we feel like advantage of the xeriscape in your park strip. The biggest thing for us being the water department is using less water for water conservation. To meet our goals set by the governor by 2030 or 2025, we got to be having a 25% reduction per capita. So we're looking at any way we can to kind of help conserve water and reduce that per capita use. So also with that, some side effects would be residents are going to save on their water bill, a little less lawn to mow, and it's going to be a lot better for the environment without all that water in the park strips, pushing fertilizers and grass clippings down to the storm drain. That's going to be pretty beneficial over time. There's a lot of issues with storm drain runoff and chemicals getting into the rivers and streams. So this is just kind of a water savings estimate. We kind of put some numbers together and figured out that an average park strip is usually about 8 heads with an average runtime of about 20 minutes. And within that time, they're using 13 gallons a minute, which is equaling 260 gallons. So if you was to convert to a drip system, you're using, it's 5 gallons per hour emitters at a run time of about 30 minutes. And they're using 60 gallons if they ran it for a full hour, but the average run time is 30 minutes. So they're only using 30 gallons in that 30 minutes. So you look at the water savings on a daily basis, you could be saving 230 gallons in just one watering cycle. And then if the average park strip was watered 4 times a week, you could be saving up to 920 gallons in just 1 week. So then you kind of multiply that and go into 4 weeks, and you're now at over 3,600 gallons in just a month. And then in that summer watering cycle, which is about 4 months, you're now at over 14,000 gallons of water saved. So it kind of adds up pretty quick, and there's a lot of water to be saved by converting in a park strip. So this is a cost savings estimate that we put together on the 2020 rates. So if you take that those numbers from that last slide of that 14,576 gallons and times it out at our current water rates, you can see in that breakdown with the 1 month, 4 month, and 5 year savings, there is money to be saved here, and it does add up over time. Like I say, for us, it's more about saving the water than saving the money, but this is a nice perk for anybody looking to convert their park strips, because they will save money on this. So water that is saved or conserved by comparison. So if you take that 14,000 gallons in that 4 months, and then if you took 10 homes and times that out, you're now at 147,000 gallons of water. And just to kind of put that in perspective, if you took 8 residential swimming pools at 18,000 gallons, that's kind of the water that you'd be filling if you was able to say, if you were using that 147,000 gallons of water, that's the water you'd be wasting basically. So there's a lot of water to be saved here if you can just get enough homes to buy into this and convert their park strips. So what a park strip rebate conversion program could look like. So we'd have an application, instructions and eligibility, planning requirements, and the rebate would be based on square footage of your park strip. And then links on a city website for planning and design. So this is just an application that we've kind of put together that would kind of get some basic information from the homeowner, and then just have them check off that they've read our eligibility requirements. And some of the requirements we would have is that we would have a pre-inspection and also a post-inspection. And then also just some other basic requirements would be that you would have to have living grass already existing. You couldn't have dirt and then looking to convert it to a xeriscape. So, this is aimed at people that already have existing lawn to get them to convert to a xeriscape. So this is just our eligibility requirements, and we would have this posted on the city website along with frequently asked questions. We kind of feel like we've covered most everything that maybe a homeowner would ask or look into, and we've tried to be fair with requirements, but also strict enough that the city's not taken advantage of as well. So I don't know if you can read any of those, but it kind of covers pretty much everything, I feel like. So this here would be one of the links that if on our city website, if they was to apply or look into this conversion program, they could click on this link that we would have, and it would give them some ideas for planning and design, and just kind of help them out a little bit to have a better idea of what if they're inexperienced on how to plan a park strip. And this would just be another link, and this is with the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District, their conservation garden that they have. So they have this link that you can figure out plant types, bloom season, irrigation requirements, and just all kinds of different information. It's actually pretty helpful and pretty informative for anybody looking into that. So this is, just our estimated annual cost of the program. There's a lot of variables in this with, how hard, I guess, maybe we promote this or the interest level. I know there is some interest in this because we've had some calls actually even in the last couple of months inquiring about a conversion program and what we offer. So I know the interest is out there, but, we could be taken by storm and maybe it costs a little more than we're anticipating, but that would actually be a good thing in a way. But kind of looking out for, 3 years out, this is kind of what we're thinking. We would kind of pretty much have a cap on each conversion. Each resident that wanted to convert, they'd have a cap of about $350. So they couldn't, take too much of the rebate money. That's depending on their lot size or how much they're looking to convert. So this is our current landscaping ordinance, and I don't know if Melinda wants to, or Jared want to comment on this.
Yeah, thank you, Corey. So what the council really wants to know here is that our ordinance actually supports water conservation and does not prohibit it. So the landscaping ordinance requires park strips to be landscaped with vegetation, but it doesn't prohibit the xeriscaping. There is an exception for that, and there's a few double frontage lots throughout the city. And then section 1768-040D also requires landscaped improvements and requires water-wise plant materials and or appropriate xeriscaping. So that's the good news. We kind of have the more minor role in this. And because our ordinances allow for water conservation with landscaping, we really don't need to make any changes at this time.
Is there any questions on some of that stuff we went over, or anything we can answer for you?
Brett?
Me?
Brett?
Go ahead,
Diane, can I ask a question?
please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm at the last meeting. I'm sorry, Dale.
I thought I'm listening.
Anyway, Corey, what I'm wondering is, are these programs, which I think are wonderful, by the way, and so important for our city, and to make sure that we are taking care of the finite resource of water, are these programs available to the citizens east of 9th East?
They are in the Jordan Valley and Salt Lake City water districts. So they aren't on our water system, so Murray City Water Department doesn't gain anything in doing that, but they can take advantage of those other programs on that Utah Water Savers website, because they're buying from Jordan Valley Water and Salt Lake City Water, so they would be eligible for some of those other rebates that residents in the service area don't have that option to. So the answer to your question is no.
Okay. But
Their best option is to go through that Utah Water Savers rebate program.
Okay, great. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you, Corey.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I just wanted to say that I love this program, and I'm also excited to see that you have in your requirements 40% vegetation at maturity, where the water savers flip your strip is 60%. So I love that ours is even more water wise, allowing for just different. I've seen so many strips and yards. Sorry, is someone trying to correct me? Am I wrong? I thought I heard someone talking, maybe not. Okay. This is such a hard format. But yeah, I love that. With our ordinances, I did wonder, it says that we're consistent, but I swear in my memory that we've talked to a few residents recently who wanted to do some landscaping, whether it was their strip or maybe it was just their yard, but that they weren't allowed to in our current ordinance. Does anyone have any idea about that or? Yeah.
Dale, may I answer? I believe that you had a resident contact you that wanted to put stone or rock or something that didn't include any vegetation.
So they still need within our current, but do we have a percentage in our current, or is it just some vegetation?
Melinda would be able to answer that a lot better than I could.
Sorry, I don't mean to deflect or distract from this, but while we're talking about it, just to make sure that for people who maybe don't have a strip to flip, like I don't have a strip, I just have a very small front yard. So I wouldn't qualify for this, but I want to make sure our ordinance would allow, similar landscaping on their own.
I don't know if you can hear me or not. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So Jared's here with us too. I'll let him take the more detailed technical questions on that.
Can you guys take that off the screen and then we can see each other?
Oh, sure. The current ordinance for park strips, 1768 applies to those in the same way. And so our current 1768 requires 50% bed coverage. So it's right in between the two. But that's a kind of a moving target. I don't know what 50% bed coverage really looks like and sizes of plants, et cetera. So, and it does encourage the waterwise and the xeriscaping, but like Janet mentioned, it does not allow you, unless you're a double frontage lot on a certain high volume street, we have six or so of them named. You're not allowed to just do it in pavers or stone unless you're on one of those double frontage lots. So it would have to have some vegetation, but if it's xeriscaped, we just do that 50% coverage.
Thank you. And I suppose further discussion of that would probably be another conversation outside this program. But thank you for the information and just the great program. I think it's wonderful.
That'll be helpful.
Yes, I agree. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Rosalba?
Corey, so I have a question about the program, let's see, the Conservation Garden Park.
Right.
Now, is that available to any citizen? For example, we are redoing our part. We want to refinish and redo our park strip. Could I go and participate without being part of I wouldn't qualify for the program, but we did want to put waterways plants in there.
Right. Yeah, you can. That's just a website.
Okay.
Anybody can click on and get information from. So that's available to everybody to get those planning ideas and requirements. And so, yeah, that's like go over the garden. And then, like Danny says, anybody can go over to the conservation garden and walk it and get a tour, and you can get ideas firsthand as well.
Okay, Perfect. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Dale, I just wanted to mention one thing about the budget. The water department has budgeted extra money in there, and in anticipation of a very successful or needed program. So I don't think he would have to come back to the council for additional funding this year. I think there's plenty of money in there that you've at and are getting ready to approve. So.
Okay, thank you, Danny. All right, with that, we'll move on. Does anyone else have any more questions before I move on?
I just want to say I'm so excited for this program.
Thank you. Yeah, it'll be good. Looking forward to it.
Okay, we'll move on to budget amendment, FY 2019-2020 wastewater fund. Brenda.
Okay, I don't have anything to share, but I'm still seeing Danny's screen. If Danny wants to unshare his screen.
If I can figure out what I did with it, I've got like 12 layers. And there we go. Let's see.
He'll get it.
Here, there we go.
There we go. Okay. So we're going to talk about a budget amendment. I made this one very simple because it came up as kind of a quick item that needed to be done this year and as soon as possible. The wastewater fund has in their budget that you have before you right now a purchase of a sewer cleaning truck or vacuum truck per se. And they have an opportunity to buy a new one right now that will cost us slightly less. And the current, if we ordered one brand new right now, it would take 9 to 12 months to get it. And we're replacing a 10-year-old truck. So it actually makes sense to get this one that is actually sitting on a lot in Salt Lake City. So tonight in the council meeting, there is a budget amendment that you will have a public hearing on, and then you can vote on this. And if you do pass it, I, of course, will revise the wastewater budget and take that truck out so that they can't buy two, they're only going to buy one. And it will just, it's coming out of reserves now. And then when I adjust that budget, it's essentially going back into reserves. So Danny can speak onto why we need the truck, but mostly it's because it's not sucking as well as it needs to, and it's starting to break down. So so that's basically what we're doing. What we're bringing forward for you is it's a good deal. It saves us a lot of wait time, and it decreases the amount of time we have to worry that the current truck will break down, and then the amount of repairs we'll have to make. So that's what's going to be coming before you tonight in the council meeting. Do you have any questions?
Are there any questions? Okay, I have a comment. I wish Danny had laughed that hard when I told him a joke. All right, with no questions, we'll move on to announcements. Jan.
Dale, I don't have anything tonight.
Well, that was good. We'll stand adjourned until council meeting. Thank you.